Hi, I'm Gabriela, and this is the Personal Finance and Coffee podcast. And on this channel, we talk about money and personal finance. How can you manage the money that you make so that you have less anxiety and less stress wondering where it went, and you have a bit more peace knowing that the way you're using your money day to day is giving you progress towards the goals that you want. Today, I'm starting my April monthly reset, and this time I want to try something different. You let me know in the comments if you like it. When I do a monthly reset, I don't do it in one day. Today is the Friday, 21st of March. So I'm starting today. I usually have these monthly resets. And the reason why I have monthly resets is because when I plan and prepare for the month ahead, it affects how I spend my money on a day-to-day basis. It affects how consistent I am with my tracking. It affects how the emotions that I feel. You know, when you feel a little bit more in control, you're like, okay, I've had this, today's a bad day, but we shall do better next time. But when I don't feel like I have a kind of bearing of what I'm doing, I end up making more emotional decisions. That is why I do these monthly resets. It gives me a clean slate feeling, starting afresh. That is why I do it, and that is the connection that I make between my monthly reset and my personal finance. So I share this with you, so perhaps you get some ideas. That is why I do this. Now, this monthly reset is a little bit different because we're ending Q1, quarter one of 2025, and we are starting the next quarter, next April. So we're starting another quarter. And that affects how I set up my planner. My planner is the one that I use on a day-to-day basis. It's the one that I use to track the things that I want to do, and also track my time, how I'm managing it, set my intentions. It reminds me of the goals that I have, to see the progress. It's where I write my gratitudes, and I'm going to take you through this as well. Today, Friday, the first thing I'm going to do is set up my planner for Q2. I may not finish because it's a tedious process, and I don't intend to do this forever. This tedious process should take me, my intention is to keep adjusting and finding what works for me. Hopefully 2026 I'll have like a printed out version and I just start writing, because by then the goal is to have something that works, and maybe I can share it with you, have a product of a planner, but time will tell, guys, time will tell. So this is my first step, and this episode of the monthly reset, as I do certain activities, I'll be making short clips. So if there is a bit of background noise, please, my apologies. The space I'm in right now, there's a bit of background noise, and so I'll keep giving clips as throughout this video, taking you through my process of making the monthly reset. Now let me show you the layout of my planner and kind of my thoughts of how I'm going to arrange it. So this is the planner that I used in 2025 Q1. So I have a section for January, and then I have a section for February, and I also have a section for March. So in this planner, this is where I track my time on a weekly basis, and this is one of the spreads that I use. And I also have projects that I'm working on. And then in this tracker, I also have daily pages. So I write what I'm grateful every day, and then I write what my 2 goals are, and I also track the progress that I've made on that day. So I do this every day to keep reminding me of the goals that I've set, and I keep making progress. And then I write the things I want to do that day. I write them down and I check them off. This side usually keeps changing. Sometimes I jot down things, sometimes I don't, sometimes it's blank. It keeps changing. So I set this up for the entire week. And as you can see, this planner is coming to an end. At the back of the plan, I have an envelope where I have my expense tracker. So I pull out the expense tracker and I track my finances. So that is it. Now I'm setting up my new notebook for Q2. And in this one, I have the yearly calendar first of all. So it's where I'm going to have April up to the end. I haven't set up, so you can see right now. As you can see right now, it is blank. I went in pencil and I kind of filled in what I thought I would use each page for. as of now, that is how far I've gone with this, and I've also put the dates for each page. So this is like what it looks like throughout the notebook, all the way to the end of June. That's how I've set it up. So now what I'm going to do is prepare, like, what I'm going to do is draw the page for the calendar, maybe how my layout is going to look out for the habit tracker, and then I'm also going to review my previous quarter notebook and take some notes. What worked, what didn't work, what would I like to change? That is what I'm doing today on Friday. I clearly won't finish setting it up, but I'll just have an idea of what I would like to take with me going forward in this next month of April, setting up the April month, and also generally thinking about roughly Q2. Nothing is set in stone. So today is Sunday, 23rd of March, and I'm just planning out what my groceries are going to look like for the month of my monthly shopping, my batch shopping, and also the weekly shopping for the month of April. And this is the template that I use. It has the items, so I just keep it has some items that I think about, so I just keep changing the amounts and the quantities depending on what the month looks like. So of course, one of the things that I always do is go through, kind of have a brief look at what the house is like, so that I'm able to know what is there and what I'm missing. If there's something that I've come to realize I want to add now, I add it as well. So it's an ongoing edit, but it just gives me the basics that I'm constantly coming back to, so that I don't have to rethink it. Now, I'm just going to give you an overview. So this is in my budget template, and so I have a tab that has the grocery list. It's where I have it. So these are for the on a monthly basis. So the things that I usually buy on a monthly basis are the ones that don't exactly get spoiled, and then the ones that I buy on a weekly basis are the perishables from the market. I don't do this every month because, like, in the month of when March was starting, I was overwhelmed, so I didn't do it, and I keep buying in small bits and pieces from the small shops, and as and when you need it. But it's exhausting. You keep having to remember what you're missing. Then you get home and you forgot to buy something, and it's inconveniencing. So every now and then, when I'm able to do this bulk shopping, I do it. So I'm going to go through, make my shopping list, and then tomorrow on Monday, I will do the monthly shopping. For the weekly shopping, I've been trying to do it weekly, but it's a bit of a struggle. So I'm going to experiment with doing twice a week. We'll see how that goes. There's a time I did the batch cooking, so when you buy the fresh fruits, when you buy the fresh food items from the market, I'd batch cook the sauces, so I wouldn't have to fry very often. So anyway, these are just experiments really. That is what this looks like. So I'm going to go through and I plan this out. To be honest, right now I don't feel like doing it, but I know that if I do it, it will help me going forward. Yeah, if you'd like this budget template, I have a link in the description where I sell this budget template, and you can keep customizing it to what you prefer. Yeah, that's what it. So for today, that is what I'm going to do for my monthly reset. So like I said, I keep having bits and pieces of this every now and then. It's not something that I do in one sitting, because it would be overwhelming. That's what this looks like for me. Yeah. So today is the 31st of March, and this is the last day that I'm going to have my monthly reset. And this is when I go to the budget template, where I capture everything, like tracking everything, go through the budget for the next month and allocate, like send the money in. Now this template, I'm going to briefly walk you through how I do this. Is the income section, then my savings and investment, then the fixed expenses, and then the variable expenses. Go to the drop down arrow and I pick the different incomes. So my work salary, and then so there are different categories. So once I pick the categories,
I put the expected, and then I budget for it and where it will go in these different sections. Then as the month goes on, I track everything here, both the income and the expenses, and then it will be summarized up in the specific category. So it's at this point that I will now come and I update my tracking. I've been tracking throughout the month of March. I move the data from my planner where I write it, and then I type it in here. It doesn't take very long, especially when I do it on a weekly basis and I check in. It takes me like 5-10 minutes to just type in and see if I've captured everything. So this is the template that I use for this process. This really helps me. It keeps me at peace knowing that I know what I've spent the money on. And then sometimes as the month goes on, I get to realize, especially the category for variables, this is where you have like the transport, this is where you have the work meals, this is where the social plans are, this is where the medical is. I find that there are seasons where I spend so much more money than I had planned. And when I look at the figure, because I've been tracking it, it then makes me choose, do I want to keep it this way? Am I okay spending more in this category and this season? Because sometimes you find that I'm in a month where there are so many birthdays and there are so many anniversaries, and it's unrealistic of me to say, Gabby, you've done badly with money, you've spent a lot under social. If I look at the events and I am content with the decision that I made, then the tracking simply makes me aware of where the money went. And then I can decide that maybe I can use next month to reduce the expenses in this specific category, so that I'm able to kind of have it balanced throughout the year. Because there is also the yearly overview. And on the yearly overview, you will see the income that you actually earned throughout the month, and then the savings and the investments and the fixed expenses and the variable expenses. All these sheets are linked. And the reason why I always come back to this in comparison to, because I've used budgeting apps as well, but the budgeting app sometimes doesn't help me see the full picture of my finances. Because like now, when you do January, February, March, right now all these have information, and I can start to compare and see what is the trend of my income from month to month, what is the trend of my savings and investments. So this is the sheet that I go to now on the 31st, and like you've seen previously, I started this process of resetting for my month much earlier. And now so that is how I kind of close out. Then when it comes to, like, if I've received my salary, then I distribute. I just check on here how much is going to specific categories, and then I send it through. If I'm doing online, if I'm making a deposit, through via an agent, I just transfer the money and I don't have to think about it. So you find that the month begins and all the money I have made has a job. If the job is saving towards a specific goal that I have, then I've saved it. I don't have it on the account, because when we have money on the account, that money just goes very fast. So this process is what helps me keep composed and kind of feel more put together. I have a link in the description where you can get this template and get started. When you get the link to this template, there's a help sheet, and this help sheet has a link to the tutorial. The tutorial walks you through how this template works in more detail. Here I'm just giving an overview of how it really helps me on a month-to-month basis. And the section that I haven't talked about is the net worth section. But the one that I use on a day-to-day basis every month is where I track and look at how the month has gone overall. Yeah, so this is the last bit of my monthly tracking. If you found this episode interesting, if you have any questions, how do you guys do it? How do you kind of close out the previous month in terms of your finances and planning? And if you have any questions, if you're curious about anything, you can ask in the comments. I always respond to every comment that you ask, and yeah, let's keep the conversation going. And I hope this monthly reset is a bit different. I hope you found it valuable. And what do you think? If you're watching till the end, you can leave a heart emoji. Yeah, thank you so much for watching. And if this is content you find it valuable, I have a link to the playlist of my monthly resets where I've talked about different ways that I reset for the month depending on how the season is, because in this particular month I haven't actually planned out content for the next month. There are some things that I've not been able to do this reset, so each reset is different, and I have a link to the playlist where you can watch the different episodes of the playlists. Yeah, and if you're looking at this budget template and you're wondering how my system works, I have a video as well that I'm going to leave linked on the screen where I talk about how to get started making your first budget. And if you find that this is something you keep telling yourself, I'm going to start, and you're struggling, you can also watch that. Yeah, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.